The NFL draft is over. Let's talk sleepers. Who is this year's Puka Nacua, right? That's the question we're going to hear a ton of. And quite frankly, there probably isn't one. But that's not what you want to hear. You want to know who it's going to be. So I'm here to tell you right now who those sleepers are from day 3 of the NFL draft. So let's start out with the guy who I really did not think was going to be a day 3 guy. I thought he could have been a round 1 guy. I was a big fan of this kid. And that's Troy Franklin. He ends up in Denver. He's got a QB connection. Him and Bo Nix played together in college. And, of course, Bo Nix getting drafted by the Broncos. He fits the system really well. You know, just like how Bo Nix, I talked about that on day 1. You can check out that video down below. With Denver, they run a scheme kind of like Oregon a little bit. Well, if Bo Nix is good in that system, so is Troy Franklin. That was his top weapon in that system. He knows what to do with a screen pass, basically. And so there's some value to be with that. The depth chart also doesn't scare me, right? Jerry Jeudy's gone. Cortland Sutton is still there. Marvin Mims really didn't show us anything as a rookie. KJ Hamler's gone. Tim Patrick, as much as I liked him 3 years ago, his knee's been pretty banged up since then. So Troy Franklin, definitely some opportunity on this offense to kind of carve out a role. He's got QB connection already. And the offense is going to work for him, man. That's a really good ecosystem for this player, even if it's not a very good offense as a whole, though. So Troy Franklin kind of set up for some potential success. My next sleeper from this range of the draft, Devontez Walker. So as you can see, I am a Baltimore Ravens fan. I'm a Devontez Walker fan. This is a guy that myself and Ryan McDaniel talked about in the pre-draft process a little bit as kind of being my favorite day 3 wide receiver. He ends up on the Baltimore Ravens. Look at that Ravens depth chart. He's going to have a pretty easy path potentially to also getting some playing time. Talk about that with Troy Franklin. That's the thing you have to look for here is opportunities to move up your depth chart. That's how Puka Nacua got his chance he got last year, right? That's how you see these late round picks get opportunities is just the chaos is a ladder sometimes, right? So guys he can beat out. He can beat out a Nelson Aguilar. He can beat out a Rashad Bateman. Next thing you know, he's on the field next to Zay Flowers, and Lamar Jackson is throwing him touchdown passes. So Devontez Walker, he's a really fast receiver. He's going to bring that speed element to this game as well. I really like his potential in the Baltimore offense. Next guy I want to talk about, Jacob Cowing from the San Francisco 49ers, slot wide receiver out of Arizona. Just an interesting guy here to throw out because I think that him and Ricky Pearsall kind of both fill the same mold. I think he probably isn't as good as Ricky, but I just want to throw him out here as a name to mention. You got to keep an eye on because the 49ers are so good at creating yards after the catch. And that's one of Cowing's strengths as a receiver as well, is what he does after catching the football. So he's a system fit, which is something you always need to look for these guys. And there's potential opportunity there. Also, one of the receivers in front of him with Debo has some injury issues in the past. If Debo or Ayuk does wind up getting traded off this summer, then hey, that's one more spot on the depth chart for him to climb. Last wide receiver I want to mention here, and this is my deep guy. We got to break out the shovel. We got to really dig for this one, and that's Ryan Flournoy. Of course, I'm going to talk about him. I'm a SEMO Red Hawk myself. And look, it's not just homerism here, though. He's a nice player, and he lands in Dallas. And this is a common thread for all these sleepers at wide receiver for me, is the depth chart. Michael Gallup is off this roster. The 3rd round pick from a couple years ago, he didn't pan out to be anything. You've got CeeDee Lamb, who's awesome and amazing. You've got Brandon Cooks, who's really good but really old. And so there's just opportunities here for this kid to maybe impress in training camp and become something. Chances are none of these guys are going to hit, none of these guys are going to become much of anything. But if they do, it's a great gangbusters victory for you because these are all guys who either you get in the very end of your rookie draft or even pick up on waivers after you put other guys on the taxi squad already. So let me know who your favorite wide receiver sleeper is in this year's draft. Who do you think is this year's Puka Nacua? And we will see you next time on the ADP Average Dudes Podcast.